Hey everyone, it's Barry from Barry's Aquarium, and for today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at my cheapest aquarium. By that I mean I hardly spent any money on it, maybe $50, maybe a little bit more than $50, like 55, something like that. But cheapest aquarium that I set up, it's another 5-gallon, just like the one on my desk. So it's pretty small, and I really like it. It's super heavily planted, so let's go take a look. So here is the tank. It is looking really nice. It is so overgrown. Looks like a jungle. The plants have just gone wild. Eventually I'm gonna need to take the plants out of here and I'll move them to the plants in my 36-gallon, which I've done in the past. So I need to do that soon. The fish hardly have any room to swim. Before we start talking about all the stuff in the tank, let's talk about the stuff that I have running for the tank, such as the lighting, filtration. For the lighting, I have this NiCrew light. I think it's like 15 inches or so. Super good. It's got green, blue, red, and white LEDs. It grows plants amazingly. I just love it because it is so cheap. It was 30 bucks on Amazon. And if you don't know, aquarium lights can run all the way up to 120 bucks just for a light this simple. Thankfully, NiCrew has super cheap lights like this. Downside to this light is it gets a little bit warm, but other than that, it's super good light. And now for the filtration, what I'm running on this tank is this small sponge filter here in the corner. I think it's around 6 inches tall. Got it on Amazon, just like the light. I think it is $5 for the sponge filter. Powering that sponge filter, I have a $10 air pump, again off of Amazon. Overall, super cheap. And the tank itself was 15 bucks at Petco. So now let's go inside the tank. Like I said at the beginning, super overgrown, super heavily planted. So all of the plants in here I found at a local pond. Other than this jungle val right here, and in the back, that Amazon sword, and this Java moss. Other than those three, I found all of these plants on my own for free, and they have grown so much over the past year or two. So the two plants, there's actually only two species of plants that I found. Elodia right here. I actually really like this plant because it's super fast growing and it roots down in the substrate if you want it to, so super cool. Then the next plant that I got is hornwort. It's this floating plant up here. I've talked about it a little bit in my other videos, but I love this plant. It gives all of the fish lots of cover to hide in. Super cool that all these plants were absolutely free. And then the hardscape, the wood, and the rock, which I don't think you guys can see, maybe back there. There's a rock right there. All the rock back there and the wood I got for free also, found it on my own. And the gravel got at the dollar store, so only $1. So overall, super cheap, easy tank. I hardly do any maintenance on this tank other than the occasional water change. I have to take the plants out because there's so many, which is a good thing. You always want your plants to grow. And for the livestock in this tank, I have a bunch of snails. You can see a bunch of dead snails right there. Those are the dead ones, but there are alive ones. There's one back there. Bladder and ram's horn snails. And the main fish in this aquarium is the white cloud mountain minnow. Now, these white cloud mountain minnows are super nice because they do not require a heater, and most aquarium fish do. These guys do just fine in cooler water. I got 7 of them for 20 cents. They're definitely worth all 20 cents. They're sold as feeder fish, so they've grown quite a bit since the time I got them. They were little tiny fish when I first got them. And the other fish that I have in here is this random harlequin rasbora. I had a whole school of them and they eventually just all died out except this one, and they're a schooling fish, so I thought might as well just put them in here. So that is the tank. It goes to show that you don't need a super expensive tank. You don't need to go all out when setting up a fish tank. You don't need super expensive fish, and they still look really good. You don't need the biggest tank, but if you were a beginner, I would highly recommend getting a larger tank than a 5-gallon because it's so much easier to keep the water parameters stable. I won't go into too much detail about that because there's plenty of videos on YouTube explaining why that is. That is it for today's video, so I'll see you guys on the next video.